Hello and welcome back to Timberborn. Boy, did we learn some things from that first video. One, audio is terrible. Apologize for that. Working on that. Hopefully this video is going to be a step closer towards that. I'm going to need to buy a boom. I'm going to have to do some stuff. I need to do some soundproofing. We'll work on that. Now, I have never had a voice for radio. Look, I had to go. I apologize. I won't do that again. Have a point. This video, short one, will have a point. And also stop talking about Bob Ross so much. Look, the guy's an absolute legend. You can't argue that. He inspired people to create new worlds and pretty little trees and clouds everywhere. So how can you not love someone like that? So this is learning for me. I'm new. Content creation. I'm going to watch more videos. We're going to learn with you. And hopefully this short episode is better. And more importantly, it has a point. We are going to focus on that reservoir. We're going to focus on how to get these beavers enough water to last them 100 days, 130 days, I think I got it set it to. So let's try. Let's try making this video better, and we'll learn from this one, and we'll try again on the next one. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. Back in our Pineappleton area. So we are focusing on this video on creating a reservoir. It's going to take ages. These things always do on Timberborn. This long recording of this video went on way over an hour. I'm going to keep it in YouTube. You can watch it if you want, but audio's bad. And I'm not re-recording a whole hour's worth of me talking about Bob Ross. So we've got a thermal field. We need that power. We need that power to run all of the woodworking, all of the planks, all of the cogs, but also we're going to need power to run the crazy pumps that we need to be able to fill this reservoir with. So here, I'm just setting that out. We're exploring how many blocks and levees we need to go up, because we know our pumps can go up to 8. So we need to get as much water out of this one build as we possibly can. So I like to mock up some of my builds before I commit to spending hours building on them and fixing them. How do we future plan? How do we make this work for the later game? Yes, we need to get water, but we also need it to work in the later game without having to destroy a lot of things. So I'm creating a 3 levee. I'm going to put that pump on top. I'm going to count. Okay, it's not big enough yet. We can go another one. And with that extra rise, delete that path and put that in there. We know it's 8. That's how high our reservoir needs to be to get the most out of that water pump for later in the game. So we can delete all of that and we can add that to our block there for the levee build. And that is the height that the whole thing's going to be built on. So with that worked out, let's start by pulling the levee around. And I work out pretty quickly that I'm going to use dynamite to get the majority of the water in here as well. And there's going to be a bit of future planning that needs to happen to create a channel of water to that area. So I'm recycling water. We could ditch all of the access water out the back there when it starts to flood, but I want to save as much water as I possibly can. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to work that out yet, because I don't want to flood the green area at the bottom, but I also don't want to be turning off the pumps over every single time it gets high. Then it will drop. Then I've got to remember to turn them on. It will drop. I'll have to remember to turn them on. Again, I want it all to be automated. I love automating anything. Hey, my house is totally automated. I don't know. I might do content on that. You know, I use Home Assistant. I'm a massive geek. What can I say? A light bulb is not a light bulb. A light bulb is different in the morning, in the night, and hey, party mode without you having to do anything. But I'm already going off topic, and I did that in the long video. So you want to hear more about automation of a smart home, you're free to watch it, but I wouldn't watch that content, and I made it. So here we're looking and talking about that idea of where I'm going to ditch that water when this thing gets full, which is going to pretty quickly. and starting to plan, okay, if I had a sluice at the bottom and I blew out with dynamite to create a runoff into the main pool, need to do that anyway. That's to feed the plants, that's to keep the beavers getting water. But then how do I get rid of that water to stop it overflowing when it becomes full? That's probably going to come in the next episode. I played this for an hour and a half on the long video, and we still didn't get this thing built. But these next 2 episodes are going to be purely focused, and I promise you, by the end of the next episode, number 3, we will have a functioning water reservoir where the video is only 10 minutes long. I'm aiming for this one to be 11 minutes long in the short version. I think a short version of a video should be only 10, 15 minutes if something major happens. So that's what we're going for. Please, again, leave comments in the bottom. Help me make these videos. Let me work it out. One of the things I do when I build, which I want to show you guys, is when you play this game enough and you get it to the long game, it will take the beavers so long to build this stuff. And you are lucky if you can realize your vision before they all die in a terrible drought. So one of the little tips I do is I build these paths all around the bottom of these reservoirs, and it means the beavers will not just focus on building 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. They will focus on building all of the blocks that they have access to. So anywhere that you can give them access by building large scaffolding, won't do it on this episode, probably won't do it on the next one, but when we do massive ones in the later games, I will build scaffolding all around these things that will get destroyed. And the reason I do that is because it can reduce the time of building these things by 80-90%. Seriously, it makes a huge difference, and you'll see it on this one. So now I'm looking at talking about that runoff. We're going to put a sluice down there, we're going to make dynamite, and we're going to blow that out so that brings water into that area. So when there is a drought, it will hold that water about 80-90. That drains out that reservoir really quick. I know it looks like a big piece of land. It's not going to hold water for that long. So we need to work that out, but one step at a time. So now we're going to start building the aqueduct. Now we need the aqueduct to be able to take the water from that pond, pump it up 8 blocks, and then fill up our reservoir. So research points is a massive challenge on this. I mean, these things are like 1,500 and 2,000 research points, and I've only got 4 pretty pathetic research stations. So I kind of get held up halfway through this build, which you'll see on the cut. But to start with, we've made that bridge across and working out how to get it into the pond by clearing those pumping stations. Now that's been worked out, we just need to wait for more research to be able to finish off the template that's going to run these things from. I come to a challenge while working this out of the pumping stations. They need 6 blocks to be able to sit on, and I've only got 4 there at the front. So I have to then create a extension piece by removing the tree and building that up to create an extra 2 blocks on the left and right to be able to have those pumping stations. Now, this is where my OCD comes in about creating pretty structures. I have to delete one of those pumping stations in order to make the other side. I look at it and it just grossed me out. I couldn't come to myself to allow myself to build something so ugly. So I deleted that. I need a longer piece of steel that gets underneath that to come up the other side and create that. But that's going to be 2,000 research points. I've only got 600. It's going to take ages. I was coming up to an hour and a half of time, so we're going to have to wait for the next episode to see that. I start forcing the beavers to focus on this. We need to get it going. I need to get this reservoir working. Otherwise, when a big drought comes, we're in trouble. But that's the end of this video. It's short. It's focusing on the reservoir. The next video will be finishing that reservoir. Let me know how this is compared to the last one. I know people didn't watch much of it, but I appreciate you coming back. I appreciate you coming on this journey with me. And we will see if we can create better content in the future. Thanks for staying with me. Best wishes. Take care.